Hey guys, welcome to another video from myself, Fraser. Here we are today at Auckland Airport, and we have decided to go take out the Embraer 1110 out for a spin in a little known airline that operated this aircraft, the Ansett New Zealand, which operated this aircraft under a little subsidiary called Tranzair, which became Ansett Regional. The whisper connection to let customers know that they are flying on the airline that operated the infamous, well, famous BAE 146, the whisper jet. But here we are in the old original Ansett New Zealand livery with the shooting stars. It's one of my favourite liveries, and it was, I guess you could say, this was Ansett New Zealand with its very special 4-star livery when they updated the livery for that iconic golden A with the star. Like people would say, it was, they went away from a New Zealand own. It still had the 4 New Zealand stars on it instead of the R5 and the Southern Cross in the black area, but they did have the big massive star in the middle there, but that was like the Australian star. But yeah, here we are with the Ansett New Zealand Tranzair EMB110, and we're going to do this aircraft was based in the main Embraer fleet was based in Wellington, and they did the Cook Strait flights between Wellington and Blenheim and Napier on Nelson. But they also had a couple of based in Auckland and they did the Whangarei and Whakatane flights out of Auckland with using under Ansett New Zealand briefly. So yeah, I thought I'd do those 2 flights today. We'll do a flight up to Whangarei first, and then we'll do a return flight, and then we'll go down to Whakatane. So we'll get in and we'll power it up. I've just done a quick sim brief flight, and we'll fumble our way through the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024's EFB, the electronic flight bag, which I find is a bit clunky at the moment. It's not as simple as, if you're just doing a quick flight, it's not as simple and as straightforward as dragging sliders as it was in the original one. So we'll get this flight plan up and loaded. So yeah, we're going to do a quick flight up to Whangarei, then we'll do a return flight back through Auckland down to Whangarei. And then in a later date, I'll do a couple of flights with this livery across the Cook Strait like it used to do, like its main bread and butter was, flying from Wellington to Blenheim and to Nelson, and I believe they might have done a flight from Parapara as well. But yeah, we'll get going and we'll fumble our way through the electronic flight bag, and we'll try FS HUD for this flight as well. So what I'm going to do is I just like to get rid of these, just makes things a bit more easier to look. And we will, right, I think we'll go on and get this external battery, the external power fired up, and we'll go on and turn on all of the required lights, like the navigation light. We'll get our seatbelt signs and no smoking signs on. We'll get that in the separator. I think that's what they turn that on when they're on the ground. It stops stuff from flying up into the engine. I think that's what that does. Anyway, we'll see how much fuel. There's not a proper sim brief thing for the for this aircraft, unfortunately. There was one that was on Flight Sim TO, but it seemed to, like, whenever I tried it, like, it always made my plane overweight for some weird reason. So there was another one that popped up, so we'll try that, and we'll go to our flight, a little electronic flight bag here, and we'll go to aircraft, I think it is, flight performance, mass thingamajig, and we will now enter in our relative weights. So we'll start off the fuel actually. So we're going to be taking up with us our block fuel is going to be 500 kgs, so just take extra, we'll just keep it like that, 600, 700 kgs for our return flight. And our passengers is going to be 12 passengers. Our payload's going to be 1140, so we'll make it, we'll round it up, we'll make it 1200 kgs in total, our payload, and hopefully that'll get us roughly a total fuel weight of, total takeoff weight of 24. So we'll, but that's the thing, we're already at our, yeah, I've got no idea how this all, like, how this all works, because I always struggle with this EFB. It's just, I just find it just so silly, I reckon. I'm just going to adjust the fuel anyway, and we'll just see what happens here. Yeah, I just find this really, like, things just don't seem to, like, add up for me, and it's, yeah, it's just one of these frustrating things, eh? Yes, it's just bizarre. I don't know if this matches, like, this is just a random thing I got from SimBrief, but yeah, I just do not like this. We'll try it with the ATR because it's got a actual SimBrief profile that I can use, but anyhow, we'll just go with that for now. Yeah, it's just, it just doesn't, like when I do that 16% kind of thing, like it just really, it really does my head in this. So I've got no idea how it works. We'll just try that. But you know what I mean? Like I say, I'm using right, we'll just try that. We'll see how that goes, but I'm not going to take that for granted, with just take it as a grain of salt, really. Anyway, we'll get our flight plan loaded up. So we'll come into here and we'll, oh, we're in that. Just trying to think now how to set up the flight plan. I'm so used to flying the commercial, the big aircraft, but We'll figure it out. I'm sure you put in your arrival and your departure in first, so we'll give that a go. Actually, that's our departures, Auckland Airport. Enter, and where our destination is NZWR for Whangarei. There we go, and we'll start our Simbury flight and we'll see which runway we're going to be departing from. So we'll request our clearance and we'll get our departure, which will probably tell us in here, but we'll see if it's updated at all. Whangarei. Yeah, we'll go with that. So go to procedures, select our departure. So this one here. To Copa. Yeah, that's the one. We'll load that up. And we'll, and we'll see what our, so I'm just going to go straight to SF. Which is Springfield, which is the one of the NDBs there. S F NDB. And our arrival into Whangarei, I think it's going to be basically the visual approach we'll get. We'll see what they've got. NFC, which is going to be landing on runway 24, so we'll change that to runway 24. Sometimes it takes a wee while. We'll get our fuel tanks turned on while we wait for that. We'll get our air conditioning all ready to come on when we start up our engine. Come up here and we'll get our windshield de-icers on. And we'll probably reset this now because it does this from time to time. Alright, I think we're... what other switches do I need to turn on? I think I turned... Oh, come on. We'll turn this one on as well. And we'll turn on our... And we'll turn that on when we take off. Right, here we go. So we're not going to fly all the way to, we get to a certain point, then we do a visual, basically circuit into fly VFR into Whangarei. So we'll get that arrival up there anyway, just in case the right, I've got no idea why I can't set my arrival for, it's just got it set for Auckland. There is a way to do that, but I'm not too sure. Oh, I've done this, I've had this issue before. Oh, do I have to go into here? No, for some reason it's still stuck on. X1T. Alright, look for Whangarei. And right, I've got no idea what to do from here, so yeah, for some reason it's stuck on the phone. Oh well, we'll just get going. I think it might change over when I get closer to my destination. Oh, here we go. Right, we'll get RNFC loaded up. We're going to start from, actually we're just going to go vectors actually, because otherwise it puts us into that holding pattern. So yeah, that's our flight plan all sorted out. So we're going to request startup and we'll go ahead and close up all of the doors. I do really enjoy flying this this aircraft. It's a cool aircraft to fly, I reckon. I can't wait for the developers to release their Saab 340, because the Saab 340 in the game is pretty average at the moment. It's got potential there, but yeah, it is in not a good situation at the moment. So our squawk is set, everything's set. We can now turn on our anti-collision lights and we can now go ahead and start our engines. This brings back memories as a kid when I used to see the this aircraft fly into Radeon Airport. Alright, that's that engine started. And we'll just wait for it to stabilize a bit. And then we can go ahead and turn on the generators for that one, and we'll go ahead and start the next engine. Here we can now introduce the fuel. And we can now make sure you turn off the ignition, because it flattens the battery and it also messes up the autopilot, as I've discovered in the past. Right, these can all come on. Taxi light can now come on. We can now get clearance for taxi. And we can now, make sure you go into battery as well. And yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. Push the magic B button to set our altimeters, and we'll go to put our RPMs up to full. Set some flaps. And I'm just going to check why my controls are not working. Right, we've just got that fixed, and we will release the chocks. Deploy a little bit of flaps. And away we go. Just disregard that ground power unit that got in the way there. And we can just close this down. And for some reason, SimBrief doesn't seem to utilize this little taxiway here, but we'll utilize this manually. We'll go ahead and select this. And I think that's a few planes over there. We'll just get going, because using this entry point onto the runway is going to mess up with FS for a little bit, so we'll just set our auto feather if we have an engine failure, and away we go. The sound isn't the best in this, but it's, like I say, it's cool to fly the Embraer. It's a really cool little aircraft. Alright, we can go flaps up and we can now start our turn towards our Whangarei waypoints. It's quite a cool little airport. It's quite a cool plane to fly out of Auckland with. And we will... Oh, it's a bit on the twitchy side. Alright, we'll just peel back the throttles just a bit. We'll come into here and we'll go to navigation, get the autopilot on, yaw dampness, and we'll go with indicated airspeed climb, I think. We'll see at 12,000 feet. I don't think the Bombardier's a pressurized aircraft, so we'll just fly it around the maximum breathing altitude for our passengers. But yeah, these aircraft were definitely, at one stage, these aircraft were king on these routes up to Whangarei, Kaitaia and Bay of Islands. I don't think we'll probably get up to... Oh no, we'll get up to 11,000 feet. I think we're doing alright. We'll turn on our weather radar as well, get that on. I don't think there's much rain where we're going, but it's good to have it on, and we might put on the de-icers, eh? And we forgot to turn our landing lights on when we're doing that quick takeoff, but that's alright. Just about to break above this a low cloud, and the view that we would have had is not there at the moment. Just cloud like this, but yeah, this is a really cool livery. This is an iconic livery in New Zealand, New Zealand's aviation history. The old Ansett New Zealand and its famous shooting stars. It's specific livery to match the New Zealand's flag with the red stars, the white lined red stars. And yeah, this plane is, I mean, it's, I don't know how much of it is modelled and whatnot, and the sound's not, the sound could be a lot better, but for what it is, it's a really nice aircraft. I really do enjoy it, flying it, and it's good that it works for 2024. And basically just like that, as we are approaching our cruising altitude, we'll probably be getting ready to descend soon. But what we'll do is we'll set up Whangarei's VOR, our DME I should say, just so we can see how far we are from it. Right, we'll set up the NDBs as well, eh? But we'll just level out at that. We don't need to go any higher than that. And whereabouts is the NDB? We'll set it up here like so, which is going to be 326. About 40 odd nautical miles away from Whangarei, so we'll just keep it as it is for now, and then we'll start our descent into Whangarei. And while we're here, we'll set our radial altimeters for our arrival, which is MDA is going to, so this is radial altimeter, so we'll set that to, I believe we set that to 500. I'll set it like that, that'll be fine. And our descent altitude is going to be, our final approach is going to be 2300, so we'll just get that set into here. But yeah, it's not a powerful aircraft, but it's just a nice cruising aircraft. Right, they have given us coordinates, so actually that's pretty much set to our heading anyway. That's pretty much set to our current flight plan, so we'll just leave it as is. Right, I suppose we will start our descent now, so we will go into here, I think engage. Engage vertical speed, and we'll just start our cruise down to our cruise on down to our approach altitude. As we will now break these clouds once again, and we'll get down below the low cloud layer back, and back underneath and we'll get some nice views of the countryside as we fly on by. Right, we'll start following these vectors now, so right, we'll go into heading mode now. Oh, we don't need our weather radar on anymore. Right, let's see what they do with the vectoring, eh? I get the feeling those coordinates were pretty pointless for that, so we'll just go back. We'll go back into nav mode. But once we get onto this arrival here, we'll basically fly the rest manually. But yeah, Whangarei, the Whangarei airport is a very precarious situated airport. It's basically it's the closest you can get to a New Zealand tabletop airport. Like, it's got a drops on either side of the airport. It's on like a little mound kind of thing. You got water on one side and you got houses on the other side, and it's one of the more, definitely considered one of the more difficult airports to land at, because it's so, where it's situated, it's doesn't leave much room for error if you make a mistake. And it is, I do believe, because the Q300s fly into this airport, and it's one of the smallest runways in New Zealand for scheduled aircraft flights, especially for the de Havilland -8, the Q300. Right, I'm going to turn off the autopilot now. Oh. Right, we'll start our start our turn out over here and line up, and we'll just go full RPM. We'll turn on our auto feather. Flaps can now come down. But yeah, this airport's one of definitely New Zealand's more difficult airports to land at. It's usually affected by winds and temperatures and all of those lovely things that decrease aircraft performance, and it's one of those airports where performance is everything. As we get a little bit too low, we'll just climb it up a bit. But flaps can all come down. Get a nice little screenshot of our arrival. As you folks will see, it's yeah, there's not much there for this airport. And the trees are a little bit slightly excessive for Flight Simulator there. Oh, come on, don't freeze like that. Oh, that's a bit of a heavy... Oh geez, that's a very hard landing there. Right, we've just made it, folks. Not the best landing there, but that will be okay. I will use the excuse, and it did freeze there for a bit, but we've made it. And what we will do is we'll turn off the landing lights. Forgot to turn it on to strobe lights when I took off, when I hastily got off the ground at Auckland, but we'll just keep it off for now, and we'll taxi on back to our to stand here in Whangarei Airport. And hopefully there's a parking spot for us. Right, we can turn off the oh, get back on the runway. You guys didn't see that. Right, the taxi lights can now come off. And what I'm going to do is we're just going to use this one here and just pretend we didn't see that aircraft that's there. And thankfully it disappeared, so that's perfect. And it's a shame that these Asobo airport hasn't got the correct parking things here. Right, that will do, folks, and we will shut down the engine. It's a shame they don't have that real nice, like, feathering sound that you hear when, like, from memory, when these aircraft are operating out of Rotorua Airport, but that will do. Get the external power on, and then we can now shut down these engines. Alright, that's our flight done for that segment, and we'll do a return flight back to Auckland, and we'll head on down to Whakatane. Right, we'll just open up all of the doors. Get a nice view outside, and we will do a quick turnaround flight. We'll do it as a separate video, so we'll see you again very